This video continues our discussion on the OnSearchPartFilterCompute event. So what we're showing here is that regardless of what values the user typed into the search part, we've gone and hard-coded the search filter to be first name equals Michael. Now this is obviously not a practical real-world example. In the real world, what you're going to do is you're going to actually take the data that was submitted in the search part and compute your own filter. So let's go here back and put in a debug1 statement again and go back now and run this. And what you can see here when we run the search, let's go here and type in M and say S over there. When we look inside the E object, we can see that there's another property here called search data submitted. So this is all of the data here that the user submitted when they pressed the search button, and it's this data here that you would use in your own XBasic that computed the new value for E.RTC search filter part. So basically you can see here that because these values here are blank, the user didn't enter any values into those fields, but he did enter an M into the first name field and an S into the last name field. And so now I can use the data in E.search data submitted dot first name and dot last name to compute my own search filter. And when I've got my computed my new computed filter, I would just set E.RTC filter underbar search part to the new filter, and that would in effect be the filter that gets executed. So the OnSearchPartFilterCompute, just to sort of reiterate my point here, is that it allows you to take the data that was submitted by the user when they do a search and compute your own search criteria, not rely on Alpha 5 taking the submitted data and using its own algorithms for computing the filter or the where clause, but letting you do that. And but to give you a head start in your computation, you can see what Alpha 5 thinks the filter should be based on the data that was submitted by looking at this E.RTC filter search part function, which you can then modify in your XBasic. So now let's take a look at the subtle differences between searching in a DBF and searching in a SQL table. So what I have here is another grid, also based on the same customer table from Alpha Sports, but this time based on the MDB version, which is a SQL table, the Microsoft Access table. So you can see here that I've got a grid that looks the same, but let's now go to my event, and I'm going to go here and put in a debug1 statement over there. And now let's go over to working preview, and I'll go here and I'll type in an L and an L, and I'll press the search button. And you can see now that the search part filter looks a little bit different. It's using arguments. This is the SQL argument object. So it's saying that last name is like and then an argument. Any time you see a colon in a SQL statement, you know that that's an argument whose value will be replaced by the value that was set in the arguments collection. And company is like colon company 1. So last name 1 and company 1 are actually arguments. So the value of the arguments is set in the second property here called E.RTC.parameters underbar search part. And this property basically contains data in a format that looks like this: value, then 3 pipes, then a data type, and then the parameter name. So let's look here at the parameters property over here, and if I press the plus to expand it, we can see this. This is a CRLF delimited string. So what you can see here is that the last name 1 argument has a data